Today we will discuss Genderlect theory and how it relates to the idea of agentic and communal qualities. We will then discuss the application of each theory and compare and contrast the two.
By the end of today's video, you will be able to explain how gender can affect communication styles, how communication between different genders resembles cross-cultural communication, define agentic and communal qualities, explain how leadership is perceived based on agentic and communal qualities, and explain the similarities and differences between Genderlect theory and agentic and communal qualities.
In regards to sex versus gender, sex is determined by biological factors. It is the idea that you are born with a specific sex and that you can only be that sex because of biological factors. Whereas gender is much more fluid. It is a set of behaviors and attitudes that tend to represent femininity and masculinity, not your biological composition.
There are two assumptions of Genderlect theory. The first is that there are masculine and feminine styles of discourse. This means that men and women communicate in ways that differ from one another. The second assumption is that male and female styles of conversation are equally valid. Just because they communicate differently does not mean that one style of communication is more effective than the other. In terms of masculine discourse, men seek status and independence. Men tend to only talk when it makes them look good, strong, independent, or competitive. Men also use report talk. Men engage in competitive joking and assertive speech aimed at taking control of the conversation.
In terms of feminine discourse, women seek connection and intimacy. Women talk to build and maintain relationships with one another. Women also use rapport talk. Women express emotions, share personal feelings, relate stories, and listen empathetically during their conversations. In Genderlect theory, masculine and feminine discourse are like two different cultures. It makes communication between the genders like cross-cultural communication.
The following video serves as an example of just how different masculine and feminine discourse can be, even when describing the same event.
Ross kissed me. No! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! It's unbelievable! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Okay, alright, we want to hear everything. Monica, get the wine and unplug the phone. Okay. Rachel, does this end well or do we need to get tissues? Oh, it ended very well. Oh, do not start without me! Do not start without me! Okay, alright. Let's hear about the kiss. Was it like a soft brush against your lips, or was it like a, I gotta have you now kind of thing? Well, at first it was really intense, and then, oh God, and then we just sort of sunk into it. Oh, so, okay, was he holding you, or was his hands like on your back? No, actually, first they started out on my waist, and then they slid up, and then they were in my hair. Oh.
And then I kissed her. Tongue? Yeah, cool.
How does Genderlect theory relate to agentic and communal qualities we discussed in class? Men talk to increase status. They are usually the ones who initiate conflict and will often maintain their position to protect themselves from looking inconsistent, whereas women talk to improve relationships, view conflict as threatening, and seek support from others to validate their identities.
Agentic qualities are usually associated as masculine characteristics. These include assertiveness, controllingness, confidence, and ambitiousness. They are also related to autonomy, control, ambition, and achievement. Communal qualities are generally associated with female characteristics. These include sympathy, helpfulness, nurturing, gentleness, and kindness. They are also related to feelings in relationship.
Agentic and communal qualities are most often applied to gender roles in leadership. Descriptive prejudice refers to the stereotype that women have less leadership potential than men because they lack agentic qualities. Prescriptive prejudice refers to the actual evaluations of women as being less effective than men in the same leadership roles. Combined, these two, descriptive and prescriptive prejudice, leave women in a double bind. This is the idea that if women conform to their traditional gender role, they are not seen as having the same potential for leadership. However, if they adopt the agentic characteristics associated with successful leaders, then they are evaluated negatively for behaving in an unfeminine manner. The following video will be an example of descriptive prejudice, which we just defined as the stereotype that women are incapable of leading within organizations or workplaces.
So, show us how you'd normally sell to a female client.
Okay, with pleasure. Time to learn a few new tricks, old dog.
You got this, Shroot.
Okay, you've just walked into her office and begin.
Hello.
Hello.
May I please speak to your boss?
No, she is the boss.
I am.
Hi, I'm Mr. Hannon. How can I help you?
Okay, this isn't working for me because no one would ever believe that she would be a boss.
The following video serves as an example of the double bind women often experience in the workplace.
Most actually wants to know if you've changed your stance on abortion, RE voted.
Yeah.
So you could say, as a woman, I believe
No. I can't identify myself as a woman. People can't know that. Men hate that. And women who hate women hate that, which I believe is most women. Don't you agree with that?
Yes,
Amy?
and ma'am, we should...
Lastly, we will compare and contrast Genderlect theory with Agentic and Communal qualities. There are some similarities between the two theories. For instance, they both discuss distinguishing factors of who is a man and woman and how they talk and interact with each other. Additionally, they both deal with sex and gender and how these concepts influence society and cause people to communicate to each other. There are also differences between the two theories. Genderlect theory is not specific to a workplace or leadership environment, whereas agentic and communal qualities are typically associated with this setting. Additionally, agentic qualities are perceived as being superior to communal qualities, whereas Genderlect theory states that neither form of discourse is more superior than the other. Thank you for watching our presentation. We hope you've enjoyed learning more about Genderlect theory and how it relates to the agentic and communal qualities of communication.